Alright, hello there, YouTube. Just on my way out on the old bike into town. And the other day, I bought a helmet second hand off somebody. Got a really good deal on it. It's almost new. And they threw in some gloves, these Tucano Urbano winter gloves. Which is pretty crazy because they're about 40 quid, but they just didn't seem to want them. So these are the benchmark. Revit H2O Hydro. I can ride pretty much half an hour into work, 40 minutes, just relatively low speed, but it's been freezing most of the time lately, and I can ride to work with those and my hands are not dropping off by the time I get there. So they are, as I say, the benchmark. So let's try these ones out. They feel quite thick. I'm not sure if they're windproof, but we'll give them a quick go and see if they do the job. Alright, let's have a look at the temperature. It's 5 degrees and falling according to Dark Sky. Feels colder than that though. Feels like it could freeze. Maybe I'm getting soft. Quite high at the wrist, these. A bit like gauntlet gloves. I've never really had any like that, so I guess you put that outside your jacket and it stops the wind going up there. I'm not sure they look quite right. I think these are scooter gloves as well. Tucano Urbano. I always see people wearing those on scooters, those little aprons to keep them warm, which look pretty snug. Wow, they feel quite nice and warm. Anyway, let's see how they get on. First thing I noticed straight away is that there's so much padding in these gloves that they feel really clumpy, a bit clumsy. You don't really have much feel for the bars. I mean, they feel warm from the off, but they're so thick, the insulation, that you don't get so much feel for the levers, and instead of grabbing the bars, it feels like you're grabbing onto like a massive ball of cotton wool. Maybe that's less of a problem if you're on a scooter because you don't have a clutch, so maybe the feel of the gloves is less important, whereas you need to be in tune with the clutch a little bit more, don't you? So just little things like trying to blip the throttle while you're wearing them takes a bit of adjustment. So far they feel really warm, but tell me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the problems with insulated gloves and motorbiking is that because you're using the brake lever and the clutch all the time, and also your sort of thumbs hooked around the back of the bars, I tend to find that the insulation gets sort of compressed, and presumably it can't really do its job when it's all squashed because it's not trapping a layer of air to keep your fingers warm. So perhaps my Revit gloves have just had too much of a tough time of it through the winter here. But certainly if you're riding through town traffic as well, you're doing a lot more work with the clutch and with the brake. So I suppose in that respect the padding would compress a little bit sooner. Plastic bag nearly hit me in the face. This is a bit of a futile test anyway, because even if I do find that these gloves are warmer than the Revits, I'll probably have to give them to my wife anyway, because she always gets cold hands on the bike. Some serious traffic in Peckham tonight. Must be about halfway now, and usually my hands are getting a little bit cold when I'm coming down here, and I have to start doing my hand warming up strategies, which include grabbing the parts of the frame that are next to the engine while I'm sitting at the lights, and also just holding my hands low so that the blood runs back into the fingertips, because I think when you're biking, one of the main issues is that you're not getting good circulation if you're squeezing them, and I usually find that holding my hands down low near the engine for even like 30 seconds at the lights can be enough to getting going for another 5 minutes, but ain't no problems at all with these gloves. Right, over the windy bridge, the ultimate test. Can they take it? And now for the ice tunnel. Alright, well I'm pretty much at my destination in central London. And my hands are still pretty warm, so I guess they've passed the test. Yeah. If these gloves aren't warm enough for you, then I reckon realistically, because the padding's so thick, that you're going to be looking at getting like electric gloves or something like that. And by electric gloves, I mean heated gloves. Good things, they're quite warm. Also, they're not too expensive. And also they look okay, I guess, in that they're just black gloves. Bad things, the big wrist things, are not everyone's cup of tea, although they might keep your forearms warm. And they're a bit bulky because of all the insulation. Although you could argue that's a good cause. Alright, well, any questions about these bad boys? Because they'll be sitting in my cupboard. Or maybe my wife will be using them, then leave them in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, then click subscribe.